But let's talk about 5T and move to the definitions are very interesting. Transparency, teamwork, technology, time, and transformation. How did these 5 principles evolve? What went behind the thinking? Because this is now a new mantra of management. And as you have demonstrated, and we saw in the video earlier, highly successful in terms of transforming. I would not have believed it till I saw the parikrama work that is there. In any other place, and I'm being very frank, to have removed all those structures around and cleared up that 75 feet would have been massive protests. I mean, you would just try knocking down one little, obstruction next to your house, you will have the whole neighborhood sitting on your this thing. How did you go about transforming? Let us take the Sri Jagannath temple. And this is the pride of Odisha, known all across. What was the technique you used to ensure that you got the job done with minimum, let's say, force and maximum empathy?
I think the 5T principle of Honorable Chief Minister, his governance principle, it clearly explains how to take a task. What is transformation? Small things are changes, but transformation is something huge, something very impactful, something which has not been tried before, which will have far-reaching impact. So the Chief Minister in his 5th term decided that people of Odisha have been so loving towards me. In a democratic setup with social media scrutiny, so many things happening, it's very difficult to enjoy the love and affection and trust of people for so long. So when he got the 5th term, he was very moved and he said that, Mr. Pandyan, I don't want now changes to happen. I want transformation to happen.
Wow.
I want big things to happen. I want the state to fly. I don't want the state to walk. I don't want the state to run. It has to fly. Every sector you select, we have to set benchmark, whether a national benchmark or global benchmark. That should be our attitude. And if it involves paying some political cost, I'm happy to do it.
Wow.
Even when we started the Sri Mandir Parikrama project, some very important people had advised the Honorable Chief Minister that many stalwarts had started before. In fact, as Gajapati Maharaja told in one of the interviews, that 500 years nothing of this scale has been done to the Sri Mandir. So the discussion when someone important spoke to Honorable Chief Minister was that so many Rajas, Maharajas have come and gone. So many British collectors who are very powerful. They had both judiciary and administration executive with them. They couldn't get this done. And 2 chief ministers had also tried before. So are you sure that you want to do it? Because it involves a huge political risk. If you do one misstep, people will judge you for that. And it is a sentiment, it's an emotion of people, not just in Odisha, throughout the world, all Jagannath Bhaks. The chief minister said that I'm very convinced and committed that I have to get this thing done for generations to come, to have a serene experience, to have a divine blissful experience in this temple. This is very much required. We have to decommercialize areas which are close to the temple so that devotees have the first choice. They have the first right to enjoy the temple from all surrounding. Otherwise, you will be hit by a bike or a car if you have a walk around the temple previously. Now you can peacefully have a walk. Imagine after 30 years, 50 years, why a young generation person will come to the temple. Absolutely. He will also need peace. Finally, we all go to the temple, not to just ask something to the God, but to get that peace, that internal peace. That divinity has to rub us sometime, not some motorcycle or car. Chief Minister was very clear that I have to do this. And second important point was that there were so many lodges so closely located to the temple. There was a huge security risk for the temple always. In fact, we all know in the recent past how temples have been attacked.
Right.
So many temples have been attacked. And Sri Mandir also has a history of getting attacked. Historically, so many times it has been attacked. So when we did whenever there is a security alert, it will say that safeguard the temple. That's it. The intelligence alert will come. And you don't know what will you do. Because there are these 6-story, 7-story lodges and buildings so close to the temple. If someone sits there and lobs a grenade and throws it inside the temple, it's very easy to create such a huge issue or damage the structure. So the chief minister was very serious about the security of the temple. So was Raja of Gajapati, Puri Raja, Gajapati Maharaj was also very serious about this security of the temple. Then, of course, the experience of the people. So these are the two reasons why this project was started. And the chief minister, as I said, that he risked everything. He said that I am determined to get it done. And the principles of 5T, teamwork, it's complete teamwork. It's a classic case of teamwork. And if I have to speak about teamwork, all of you will get bored, so I won't speak about it. It's a combination of all the departments, Sevayats, people's representatives, Gajapati Maharaj, the SJT, everyone got involved, and that's how it could happen. I should say that, as Honorable Chief Minister always says, Sabu Tankara Icha, means everything is his wish and his desire. And he always quotes this, that without his will, not a single leaf will move. So we all surrender to him and leave it to the Lord. He wanted that this time his temple has to be cleared up, and this person will clear up, and this is the way it will be cleared up. So it's his grace that we all witnessed his grace flowing through this part of the country.
Now, one of your teasers, time. Somehow there was a thought across, and there was also this, it was pointed out, that Sri Ram Mandir was also simultaneously being constructed in Ayodhya. And you all beat that whole process by 5 days. Was there a race that was going between the two?
Not at all. Not at all. Ram, Jagannath, all are same. Who can differentiate Ram and Jagannath? Finally, it's a reflection of people's faith. You call it as Ram, you call it as Jagannath, you call it as Hanuman, you call it as Joseph, you call it as whoever. It's the faith of the people which one has to respect. And our plan was to complete the Sri Mandir in 2023, but it got delayed because of a Supreme Court case which went on for 6 months or so.
So there was no race between who will
No, we don't have any race with anyone at any point of time.
But I think the other interesting thing is that you just didn't focus on Sri Jagannath Mandir. And you have used this to transform, I'm told, how many? 8,000?
10,000 temples.
10,000 temples across the state. That's quite amazing. The second point I found quite amazing was that simultaneously you did mosques, you did gurudwaras, and you did
churches
as well.
And also there is a sect called Alek Mahima here. This religion is born in Odisha, and it's a very unique religion. All their temples and everything has also been renovated or in the process of renovation.
So what was the big message that you were sending out? Because generally there's this thing that, you know, the Hindus are doing their thing, but the other religions are being neglected in some senses.
I think it is bigger than being secular. That's what I would say. I quoted in one of my interviews, it is spiritual governance. Every human being has got faith on something. In a democratic setup, it's important you honor the faith of that person. Whatever is his faith, whichever God, whichever form, formless, whatever it is, one has to respect and honor the faith of every individual. If you do that, you do a spiritual governance, you will have peace, you will have prosperity, and maybe the Lord will bless us.
Well, Odisha has shown the way that you can develop everything simultaneously. Let's move to another area, and we saw flashes of that in the video. The way you have transformed schools and, you know, hospitals. These were the two areas that you could notice in that. Now, again, what is the plan? How did you all go about it? Because here are things that have been neglected for a long time. Government schools, by the way, have always, you know, people have shunned it in other states. You seem to have turned it around and said, let's make it the most attractive thing. What did you all do to achieve those two things?
It's honestly, it's part of a very large plan for the state. If the state has to progress, we have to make some things happen. One of the things is 70 to 80% of the children of Odisha are dependent on government schools. At any point of time, even with mushrooming of private schools and opening of At any point of time, at least 70% of the students will still be dependent on government schools. If the state has to reach the next level, this 70% kids should be empowered to dream big and to achieve those dreams. Until unless you do that, the state cannot fly. So the chief minister's target, the state should not run, it should fly, can happen only if 70% of Odisha also are empowered to dream big. And you encourage them to dream big and give them the best of facilities. You give them smart classes, you give them science labs, you give them the best of equipment, sports facilities. You create an ecosystem in which the kid feels more confident and he has the conviction that whatever his dream is, he'll be able to achieve. So this is part of a larger plan of building a new Odisha. So to build a new Odisha, education is one of the pillars, and we consciously selected high school to start with because in history we have got to know that whenever you have an intervention in high school, it gives the maximum benefit in the shortest possible time. It's like low-hanging fruit. The kid has crossed the primary and middle. He is knowing what life is all about. That is the place where you can hit. And when you hit that place, whether it is China, Vietnam, South Korea, Singapore, all these places, whenever you have a resource crunch or you have limited resources, the first thing you have to touch is high school. So we have transformed all the high schools in the state. We'll be the only state who have, I would humbly say that we'll be the only state in the country to have transformed all 8,650 high schools. And I had the pleasure and privilege of speaking to each school at least for 2 minutes in the last 3 years before the transformation. And I must say that I'm personally attached to this program because I'm also a product of a government high school. I have traveled 18 kilometers up and down to high school.
Wow.
So I have
walking or bicycle?
No, bicycle. You can't walk 9 kilometers and come back 9 kilometers. So I used to cycle 9 kilometers going and cycle 9 kilometers coming back. And I know how one feels sweaty when you enter the class, when you cycle 9 kilometers. And in 1.5 hours after you enter the class, your stomach will start growling and saying that, oh, you are hungry. So, but that burning desire is there. Okay, you have to focus on your class. You have to achieve something. You have to make a name for yourself, your parents. So that government school kid ka whatever was there inside me, I thought all the kids will have. If we just provide that opportunity, environment, they will all come much bigger than whatever small things we have achieved. So that is the conviction with which I personally, with Honorable Chief Minister's vision and his inspiring leadership, we carried forward.
And I noticed you brought one more T into that, which is there in your 5 Ts. A lot of technology. I saw you have screens the people are using as we would do in very advanced schools.
So all the blackboards are in the high schools are transformed into smart boards now. So a kid, instead of learning in 2 dimension, now he'll learn in 3 dimension or 4 dimension, whichever way may you present. It's not just physical transformation of the schools which has happened, but we have also re-engineered the entire curriculum, the software component, life skills, attitude. I think in next 3-4 years, Odisha will be a big thing with the kids coming out of these schools. Very big. It's a matter of time.